So we're here with Minister Harris. We appreciate your time today. It's appreciative with industry where we can meet and discuss, and hopefully open to a few questions and kind of we'll pick your brain on a few ideas. We're really supportive of what your province is doing for development of infrastructure and the amount of spend you're going to have, as well as what the federal government's doing with their defense spending. That's very attractive to us, and we're just kind of curious from the Ministry of Natural Resources how you're going to help us ensure that we can have the resources to complete these projects.
Yeah, I think when we look at the aggregate industry as a whole, obviously it's very, very significant to what we're doing with our infrastructure spend across the province. We're building highways, we're building schools, we're building roads, bridges, critical infrastructure. Obviously with the defense spending that's coming out, we're going to need to improve a lot of our airports and a lot of the buildings that are in and around that. So we'll be playing a big part. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make it easier for the aggregate industry to flourish, of course, while still keeping a lot of those checks and balances in place that so many good operators like yourselves are really out there on the forefront of keeping things moving. And we're excited to partner with the industry and see where things go over the next little while.
I appreciate it. Malcolm, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, touching on this was the great initiative you guys have with the mega projects and everything else. We're still the only province with two-lane highway that runs part of the way across it. So I think as a perspective from Northern Ontario, we would like to see more projects on Highway 69, more projects on 1117, the 2+1, and all the aggregates and everything go with it, and the permitting and how we fast track these things so that we can see them in the next little bit. Yeah. Our industry's been struggling a little bit, I won't lie, and I think that a big infrastructure push, especially in the north, would really go well, and I think just getting those projects to market would help us.
Well, it was really interesting. I actually just got back from Kenora last week, and we flew into Winnipeg, and we're driving, and then as soon as you hit Ontario, you could see the start of the twinning of the highway, which is now a few kilometers down the road. So it's good to see a lot of that happening. Obviously, my father, former Premier Mike Harris, was a big proponent of that, the full twinning of the 469 all the way up to Sudbury, and there's still a lot of good work to go and continue with. And I think we're in a good position to get a lot of these bigger projects across the finish line. I'm a northern boy at heart. From North Bay, obviously, and I always kind of make the joke, you can take the boy out of the north, but you can't take the north out of the boy. So certainly familiar with a lot of the challenges that exist in Northern Ontario, and of course access to market up there is a big thing, right? Everything is so far apart. We need to be able to make sure that we're permitting and we're doing everything in the most sort of pragmatic way possible to try and get a lot of these areas sort of closer to the job site, realistically, right? So we want to make sure that there's open access to product, and that we're able to not have to cart it halfway across the province. So I think there's a lot of good things to come there, and like you said, there's so many great projects that are on the go right now. Really excited to see a lot of them come to fruition over the next little while.
Our biggest slogan is "Don't make gravel travel."
There you go, exactly.
Maybe I'll pivot now to a little bit about red tape, something I know that you're very familiar with. We feel that the aggregate industry is probably the most regulated industry in Ontario. We often work with multiple ministries for the same approvals. How is your office and maybe your government shortening that time and making it easier for an industry like us to get permits and approvals and processes through the door quick?
Yeah, it's really an all-of-government approach when we look at this. I think one of the things that Premier Ford has been very, very adamant about is its customer service and making sure that we're not duplicating processes, making sure that when you're interacting with my ministry, with the Ministry of Natural Resources, that you don't have to then resubmit the same information to multiple ministries and seeing everything in silos. So one of the things that we're really trying to do from our side is make sure that we're sharing that information across ministries to make it easier for you. You don't need to have dedicated staff just to fill out forms and deal with overwhelming bureaucracy. And of course, as former red tape reduction minister, I know we've had these conversations many times. I think there's been some good work behind the scenes that's done, and I think industry is going to be very happy with the level of customer service that they're going to receive over the next little while.
Great, awesome.
I was going to touch base on that with our quarry hearing, but I'll pivot to long-term how do you envision sustainability of our aggregates in the local communities so they don't have to travel? Do you have a long-term vision on that?
Yeah, we talk to municipalities a lot about kind of what that's going to look like. Obviously, there's a lot of different municipal organizations that OSSGA and other sort of aggregate companies have to deal with on a pretty regular basis. And what we're trying to do is start to get a little bit more information about what the municipal needs are going to be over the next little while, not just what's happening from a provincial standpoint. Because when we're looking at how many aggregate pits are, in a certain area, or who's going to have some of these larger scale infrastructure projects from a municipal standpoint, then we can start to look at when we're permitting things and when we're looking at areas that we would like to see developed more, that we're able to have that access to market closer to where a lot of those things are. I think a lot of the conversations that have been had over the years didn't necessarily bring a lot of that together. It was a lot of one-offs and things like that. So starting to try and almost asset map the way that municipalities are going to be pulling their infrastructure projects together over the next while, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I'll jump in on the sustainability of that. Our associations are really focused on, with the different 444 municipalities, is having harmonized specs. Because on the recycling side, some municipalities don't recycle at all.
Yeah.
Whereas the province of Ontario is our leaders in that, right?
Yeah.
We'd like to see the province take a leadership role and bring the municipalities up so that they're not
stay tuned on that one.
recycling different than
Stay tuned on
your
that one,
standard.
guys. Stay tuned on that one.
Sorry, Mike.
Maybe last technical question. You've been around 4 months now in the role. A lot of us have had the pleasure of you coming out, visiting our sites. What's been your key takeaway or key learning from visiting aggregate producers across the province?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really struck me is how much the operators care, how much they care about their sites, how much they care about the community. And it's not just about extraction, it's also about how we're interacting with the community, how we're making the community better. It's been really eye-opening to see a lot of that, to be down right in and see a lot of the mitigation measures that great operators around the province are using and how they're interacting with community. Obviously, we hear a lot about community. I come from one of the top aggregate producing ridings in the province, and it's so great to see so many great operators out there just doing everything that they can to make sure that the community feels heard and involved, but also to be able to do the great things that we need to do here in the province. So it's been a steep learning curve over the last little while, but really enjoying it. And this ministry is phenomenal. It touches so many different parts of the province, and it's really great to be part of it.
Jim, do you have a question for me?
Sorry, I was late. Nice to see you. Yeah, no, just I think a question just to add on might be around, new to the role, but not new to our industry. What do you think, given the climate, the environment today, should be, as an aggregate producer, one of our key areas of focus or priorities?
Yeah, well, we were just sort of talking about that, just saying the interaction with community and the way that that the great operators, producers out there are able to take stock in what's happening in and around the community, being able to liaise, being able to respond to questions, and just really keeping that dialogue open. I think that's one of the biggest things that I hear as minister and as a local member of provincial parliament as well, that they just want to have that conduit, that they want to be able to sort of have that dialogue back and forth and make sure that communities' concerns are heard. But at the end of the day, we can't build if we don't have aggregate, right? It's super important. So I think just keep up the good work. The industry has been doing very well over the last little while. I'm hearing nothing but good things. And we've been out this summer, we've toured a few sites, and we're just kind of looking forward to getting back to Queen's Park and in the fall and continuing to make the push to build Ontario.
So we appreciate your time. I know it's valuable, so giving us a few minutes today is
No, it's my pleasure, guys. And you know what? To the industry as a whole, my door is always open for you. So
Thank you very much.
thanks, guys. Thank you.